Welcome back to a classic slice of America, because today we're taking a look at the Horizon 5 acceleration car pack, and more specifically the 1967 Shelby GT500. Not to be confused with every other Mustang we have in the game already. From stock, this thing boasts a whopping 355 brake horsepower with 420 foot-pounds of torque, while weighing 3,794 pounds with a 7-litre engine. And I've got to say, looks-wise, you just can't go wrong with this thing. I mean, look at it. It looks absolutely fantastic from the front, from the side, and also from the back as well. Going to the inside, this thing is, of course, from the mid to late 60s, so there is no modern technology anywhere in sight, just a load of dials, a really cool wooden steering wheel, and that's about it. But now let's go ahead and take a listen to this thing. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop. The first thing we're doing is jumping straight over to conversion and over to engine swaps to see what we've got. We've got a few available. We've got ourselves a 6.2 litre V8, we've got a 6.7 litre V8 turbo diesel, alongside that an 8.4 litre V10, a 7 litre V8, and also an 8.9 litre V8 dual supercharged engine. By the way, that's pushing 1,500 brake horsepower. If you want, you can also go ahead and either turbocharge or supercharge the stock engine. And taking a look, you can also make this thing all-wheel drive as well, which we'll do in a bit, but that's probably going to annoy a few Mustang drivers. In the meantime, going to aero and appearance, we've got ourselves a few options. We've got the Shelby front bumper, which can make your Mustang look a little bit like this, referencing, I think, an even older car I'm not quite too sure about. You can also go ahead and have this as well to have some extra lights in the middle should you want it, and you can also go ahead and put them to the side, as well as taking off the front bumper, or you can go ahead and put on the Forza Aero too. Going to the back, we have only one option, and it is this tiny little bit of plastic right here. It's a bit disappointing when you can see how much we can do to the front. And the best bit out of all of this, you can go ahead and put it on some white walls too. I mean, just look at that, it looks so cool. Now, we've not got a tune from Mac this week, but we have got a tune for myself instead, so let's go ahead and bring up the share code of that very quickly. There you go, feel free to go ahead and grab that. It is called Sketch because this thing is very, very sketchy, but let's go ahead, download and install and see how good we do. So with these upgrades, we are now looking at just a shade under 3,170 pounds with a whopping 520 brake horsepower at the top of A-Class. I mean, to be fair, what could go wrong? But before we go racing, let's go ahead and take a look at the paints. Going to advanced, we've got nothing in advanced, sadly, but we do have ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different manufacturer colours. And I've got to say, I think out of all of them, this one might just be my favourite. Now, a very fun fact about the GT500, I think specifically roughly around this exact generation of GT500, one of them became a very famous movie car with the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. And if you think this car looks familiar, yeah, I kind of built it to be the same. Whether it's actually gone in 60 seconds? Yeah, we've still yet to test that. If you happen to know the name of this car, by the way, put it in the comments. And away we go. Got to try and get this thing from 8th all the way up into 1st. 500 brake horsepower. We are at the top of A-Class. Let's go ahead, try our best and see how well we do. To be fair, the fact we're already up into 5th off the start is a pretty good indication for this car. Now we've just got to try and put the power down. We are in 5th, but can we stay in 5th? I really hope we can. Also, I had a look at how many of these were made for this exact make, model, and year, and the numbers are honestly a little surprising. Only 2,048. Come on, can we get them on the inside? Brake, turn, go. We're up into 2nd. Make that 1st. How made that work? Even I have no idea. But what I do have an idea of is the average price of these things if you wanted to buy one now. That being an absolutely staggering 154,000 US dollars, which is honestly absolutely insane. And about this in pound sterling. Of which, if you ask me, is equally insane, if not more, considering that these things are quite rare in the UK. And I'm not kidding, I honestly don't think I've seen one for a good few years now. Unlike the regular everyday Mustangs, which I've seen roughly about 5 of. Speaking of Mustangs, for those of you trying to guess the 60 seconds car earlier, this thing is called Eleanor. Another fun fact is I also have a small diecast model of it somewhere, just don't know where. Anyway, 95%, one more turn to go as always, around we go, the finish line is just there, and across we go, with a rather nice first place and a massive gap between us and everybody else, and a time of 2 minutes 8. Now, I'd usually go over the Horizon backstage at this point in the video, but at the moment, as you're seeing this, it's still Series 43 for me. However, now we do get a chance to go ahead and slap every upgrade that we can at this thing, including 1,500 brake horsepower, and of course, all-wheel drive. Can't wait to get slated in the comments for that one. We're also going to go ahead and throw drag tyres on this thing, because it is time to make this thing a drag build. And because we can, we're also going to go ahead and make this thing lighter, all the way up to 3,310 pounds. Which is a lot lighter than it was before. And because we can, to make this thing even lighter, we're going to go ahead and take off the chrome. Don't worry, it'll be back on soon though. So with those upgrades, we are now sat at 3,254 pounds with a whopping 1,500 brake horsepower. This could be mad. All I've got to do now is sit down and try and tune this thing. And you know what, while we're at it, let's go ahead and give this thing a repaint. There we go, that's more like it. The only thing is, I forgot how long it takes to save. Right, here we are now over at the back of the festival. Let's go ahead and see, do we get a wheelie out of this thing? Not really, do we get a reverse wheelie? Also no. Well, that's a shame. Anyway, let's go ahead and drag race this thing. Okay, so here we are now over at the edge of the drag strip. We're on launch control, and away we go. This thing is very hefty, but it does have an absolutely massive amount of power underneath the bonnet there. 1,500 brake horsepower, dual supercharged engine. Let's go ahead and see through the camera at 198. And then what do we get off the end of the runway? We get ourselves 220 and 0 braking. You know, one day I'll remember to upgrade those. However, now that means we get to do 2 more things to this car. The first thing being we're putting the chrome back on, and we're also going to go ahead and put it back on some proper tyres too. And while we're at it, maybe a better gearbox too. There we go, that's better. A little heavier, but hopefully it should do the job. However, with the new gearbox means we need to do another new tune, so I'll be back in a bit. In the meantime, I've got a question for the comments. Have you ever seen a Mustang like this? Because if you have, consider me envious. In the meantime, it's time for everybody's favourite game of how close can I get to the motorway grate, and today I think we're going to go here. Let's see if that's alright. Okay, let's see. Are we right? Are we nearly there? We are almost. So close. It's literally right there in front of us. Some might say so close. Yeah, so far. Anyway, here we are over at the edge of the good old motorway. We're on launch control. We've got a really nice looking Mustang, so let's go ahead and floor it. What can we get out of this thing? 1,500 brake horsepower? I'm hoping it's a good top speed. Because if it isn't, I'm going to be a little bit concerned. Okay, that's alright. Maybe it's majorly concerned. Hello. Bye-bye. And out of the speed zone, 251.21, and we are still going, we are still accelerating, which means it could be looking very promising for us through the speed camera and through the downhill as well. And to be fair, I've got to say, for how quick this thing is going, it's actually surprisingly agile. Anyway, through the camera, 259.98, going downhill, 264, 265, 266. Do we get any quicker than that? We do, 267 fleetingly, and brakes on at the motorway sign. Let's see how long this thing takes to stop. If it decides it wants to stop, brakes, hello? You know what? For the speed that we're doing, that's not too bad. And now it's time for every Mustang's favourite thing. Yep, you guessed it, we're going drifting. Let's go ahead, throw this thing into the drift zone and see what we've got. Remember, 30,000 is usually our little base of kind of, you know, whether we consider a vehicle good or not. And we go out of the drift zone at 39,519 points. So a decent amount of points and a terrible attempt at words. However, can we beat that going back the other way? There's only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and chuck this thing in and hope for the best. There's a bridge there. Just gonna go and do that again very quickly. Anyway, let's go ahead and find out what this thing can do through here. This is totally the first time we're taking it through a drift zone. We've not careered into the bridge. Nope, you're also nothing. Anyway, let's go ahead and out we go. 39,398 points. So 39 point something K. It seems to be kind of like the average for this thing. I'm not gonna lie, calling 39,000 average for this thing feels kind of wrong, but it's also pretty decent at drifting apparently, which to me is actually pretty good. Oh hey look, we're exactly back where we started. That's cool. Right, anyway, that is this video on the Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. It's got a pretty long name, and I've got to say it is a pretty nice car as well. Once again, you can find this thing from the Horizon 5 Acceleration car pack. And if there's any other cars from that car pack that you want to see me make a video on, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Tech out. See ya. Okay, where's Eleanor?